What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. This is episode number 7. We start today's episode off on the back of our win over Leicester, courtesy of that James Ward-Prowse penalty in stoppage time. 2 goals and 3 for our captain in what has been a really inconsistent run of form. It's been lose 1, win 1, lose 1, win 1. So taking on Brighton for the first game of today's episode, you followed the trend. I was expecting another loss in this game here. But even so, 14 games into the season now, as we just began December. 5 games away from the halfway point, and right now mid-table with the Saints. And it's exactly where I thought we'd be right now. You know, possibly an outside shot of sneaking into a European spot at best. Maybe at worst, only just above the relegation zone. But really, this is where I thought we'd be. Very realistic indeed, and exactly how the season panned out thus far. So yeah, first game of today's episode was indeed Brighton. Not much going on in this game, just like the win over Leicester here at St Mary's. Brighton hit the post in the first half, and in the second half I really struggled to get going until I got my one good chance, and I took it as well. Ball fed through to Ritsu, and a Japanese winger with yet another. I've got to be honest, man, he is our top scorer this season. Cost me 20.5 mil from PSV Eindhoven. 5th in 14, averaging over 1 in every 3, and potentially the game winner with just over a quarter of an hour to go. He has been an amazing signing, and like I said when the series began, I was only going to sign Southampton transfer targets in real life in the first season. Well, let's just say I'd like to see Southampton pick him up in real life as well, because in the game, he's been nothing short of sublime. So he opened the scoring, and then just a few minutes afterwards, we would wrap the game up. Nathan Redmond coming down the left-hand side, whipping it in, and there is Adam Armstrong with the finish. Great first touch, by the way, as well, and the finish well for a 2-0 victory. And there you go, the inconsistent run of form. I guess I wouldn't say it's been ended, but it has been halted. Yeah, back-to-back wins for the first time in quite some time. And also another clean sheet as well, as Sam Johnson right now is picking those up. Week in, week out, it seems like, for the most part. Another one there in a 2-0 victory, and we'll definitely take it. And I have to say, as we're closing out the first half of the season, again, in mid-table right now, it's really congested in the race for a European place. I gotta say, if we can go on a little mini run here in December, and it's hard to do with so many games coming thick and fast, unless you've got a really thick and quality squad in terms of depth, it's hard to manage the load and the game load. But if we can go on a little mini run, there's always an outside shot of European football, and Lord knows, I would absolutely love to be at the halfway point around Christmas time, banging on the door for a Europa League place. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Still stacking game of today's episode. Arsenal away, North London, Emirates Stadium, taking on Mikel Arteta's Gunners, who right now lead the way in the race for the Premier League title. And it's safe to say, whilst they've been the best team in the country in the game in this first half of the season, yeah, they probably scored the easiest goal of the campaign 18 minutes in against me here. You know, I've talked about how my defending in this year's FIFA is, I'll be honest, atrocious. This is just embarrassing, and I remember when it happened live, I was like, oh god, I'm going to have to show you a replay for that as well, just to show you how bad it was. Yeah, I rarely ever press the circle button when the ball is in my area, because I've mentioned before, if you mistime a stand tackle against the AI, on Ultimate, because their footwork and dribbling is just so accurate, and the ball control is just so close to their feet, if you mistime it by a fraction of a second, you've given away a spot kick. And that's why I've mentioned before, sometimes I really do believe it's best just to jockey and not put in a tackle. But for goals 1 and 3 here in this game, you can see why sometimes it proves to be a bit of a negative thing to do, just jockeying, because they'll most likely find a bit of space if they can, and once they do get an opening, they'll take the chance 9 times out of 10. Exactly what happened for goals number 1 and 3. Bukayo Saka bagging a brace in the first half, and then Alexander Isak, who right now is, well, leading the line for Arsenal and currently top scorer of the Premier League this season. He's the main reason why they are top of the table. But yeah, 3-0 loss there in North London. I've got to be honest, heading to the game, we were massive underdogs, don't get me wrong, despite back-to-back wins and back-to-back clean sheets, but I was the master of my own downfall for goals 1 and 3. Couldn't do much about the second one, but I think it's just like it's one of those things where I trust my boys to like make the positioning and the marking off the ball, if you know what I mean. I trust my AI marking to be good. But sometimes it isn't. And you know, when that happens and you're allowing the ball carrier, the man on the ball, to have a little bit of space because you're not lunging in with the circle button, Well, it's going to be tough for you to stop a goal because once that ball's worked inside, forget about it. You know it's going to find the back of net. Still, 3-0 loss away in North London, but not too disappointed to be fair. Despite the defence being poor, we were up against the best team in the country as things stand so far in this save. Still, third game of today's episode, midweek, Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace. What a result for them, by the way, on Monday night against Manchester City. Patrick Vieira, I've talked about it before. Huge admirer of Patrick Vieira as a player. During his time with Arsenal, just unbelievably integral to the success under Arsene Wenger there. But as a manager, his first stint in the Premier League, taking on the Crystal Palace job, you know, rebuilding a little bit, bringing in some new players, looking to chop and change a few things with the play style as well. The fact they are cemented in mid-table right now, and it does seem quite likely they are going to steer clear of the drop zone. There is still time, but I think they'll be safe. I think he's done a great job, and I don't think Vieira's got enough credit for, you know, his first season in top-flight management in the Premier League with this Crystal Palace team. I think he's done a really good job, man, and that result against Man City was a really impressive goalless draw there against Pep Guardiola's side on Monday night. And heading into this game here, oh, you were waiting for this if you read the title. I couldn't wait to show you this. So we're leading by a goal to nil. Armando Broja with his fourth of the season, giving us the open. And there were 4 minutes to go after Redmond intercepts his man, rounds Gaita, and I'm thinking, it's a tight angle, but I think I can squeeze that in there. But Nathan Ferguson says, well, yeah, you might be able to get it in between the posts, but I'm not going to give up on this play. It's like a chase down LeBron James block, man. Unbelievable. Nathan Ferguson with the best goal line clearance of all time. Once I rounded Gaita and I managed to put the ball past him, I was like, my mouth was open. I was like, that's definitely going in. And then out of nowhere, Nathan Ferguson tracking back to prevent the dagger. In the end, it did not matter. We held on for the 1-0 victory. So third win in 4 and third clean sheet in 4 as well. You know, I'm pleased about that. But even so, that goal line clearance, man, was absolutely unbelievable. Just extraordinary piece of defending there. But thankfully, it came in vain. So back to winning ways there against Crystal Palace. And after the game, as you can see, 3 wins in our last 4 now and 3 clean sheets in 4 as well. Speaking of clean sheets, we see that 3 of our goalkeepers can leave the club on a free transfer and a pre-contract in January. And I'm totally fine with that. You know, Willy Caballero is 40, signed a short-term contract. The Argentine has no long-term future here, so I'm totally fine with him going on a free transfer. I talked about Alex McCarthy at the start of the season. I said that one of him or Fraser Forster will be sold in the summer, and then we'd let the other one go on a free transfer, either in the January on a pre-contract or for next season. And as for Lewis, he's not got the quality in the Southampton team, so yeah, I'm totally fine with those players leaving on frees. But still, for the following game, 4-1 of today's episode, Brentford here at St Mary's, and I gotta say, how cool is this? 15 minutes in, I didn't really mind conceding this goal here. Christian Eriksen, the Dane, with his second of the season, this season in the save here, giving the Bees the lead. And can we all just say, like, how great it is to see Christian Eriksen back on a football pitch and contributing for Brentford. He, of course, set up one of Ivan Toney's goals on the weekend against Burnley. What a fabulous assist it was from the Dane, proving he's still got it, no doubt about that. And in this game here, well, he did the same. Brilliant assist for the Brentford second goal, whipping in that corner as he headed home. And Brentford led by 2 here at St Mary's, alongside the Christian Eriksen opener as well. I also read yesterday morning that Christian Eriksen has been included in the Denmark squad for the first time since the cardiac arrest. I have to say, just a brilliant... You can't really call it a redemption arc, but it's just brilliant to see, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So many people thought he'd never play football again, and now here he is playing in the top flight of English football, making a difference with Brentford so early on to signing that contract, and he's going to be back on the international stage representing his country as well. I think it's fantastic, and everyone is so happy to see it. And did you see as well the Brandon Williams incident last weekend? I think it was. Brandon Williams on loan from Manchester United with Norwich right now. When they had the tangle on the floor, Brandon Williams was ready to throw hands, man. Then he realised who it was, and he gave Christian Eriksen a hug. I read the interview of Williams after the game saying he just felt like he needed a hug. I thought that was so sweet. Yeah, everyone is so pleased to see Eriksen doing so well right now with the Bees, and I can't wait to see him back on the international stage with Denmark as well. Even so, in this game, despite his best efforts in the first half, scoring the first and setting up the second, thankfully, his man of the match display was only enough to earn Brentford a point. We battled back from 2 goals goals down to claim a draw in this game here. Salisu heading in his first of the season, and Armando Broja getting another one, second goal in 2 games for Armando in a 2-2 draw. You know, he's not exactly set the world alight this season for us, but he is still a teenage talent. I got to remind myself of that, and we are the lowest scorers in the league as well. So I'm still sitting there thinking about next season. You know, I mentioned it a few times now. I'm definitely not against bringing him back permanently from Chelsea, depending on those financial sanctions, I guess, or maybe just another loan spell as well, because to be fair, he is our second highest scorer, in fact our joint highest scorer now, alongside Ritsu. So yeah, he might not be, you know, amazing in terms of his goal to game ratio this season, but for a youngster, yeah, he's not done too badly in what is the lowest scoring team in the division. Still, final game of today's episode, match day 19 in the Premier League. So come the end of this one, we'll be officially at the halfway point, and it's safe to say he has now finally found his feet consistently. Yep, 3 goals in 3 games for our number 18, the English-born Albanian forward Armando Broja with another. That is goal number 6 for the season, which means he is now our top scorer of this campaign. Sorry, no, goal number 5 for the season, which means our joint top scorer of the season, alongside Ritsu as well, after 3 in 3. So 1-0 Southampton, and Broja with the goals. We look to extend what has been a little unbeaten run, and a very encouraging run as well for the Bees as well. Just 1 defeat in our last 5 games. And West Ham away, never an easy place to go here against David Moyes' side. As we know, this season got a golden chance, an absolutely golden chance to finish in the top 4 and qualify for the Champions League with the uncertainty of some of the bigger clubs in the division this season. Well, we might take the lead, but Mikel Antonio did level for the hosts, and there were 10 minutes to go in. Quite an uneventful game, all things considered. A chance for the hosts to win it. Masuaku steps in from the left-hand side, but Johnston bails me out at the near post, as he's so often done this season. So final score 1-1, another draw against another London side, but I will take it because it means just 1 defeat in our last 6. It is one of our best runs of the season thus far. Definitely take the point pre-game, and I'll certainly take come the end of the game as well. And you know, I've got to say, you know, for the first half of the season, 19 games in now, officially halfway done. It's been good. It's been really good. It's been kind of exactly what I was expecting, as Alexander Isak right now is leading the way in the race for the Golden Boot for Arsenal. One of the main reasons why they're top of the table. Jay Adams, by the way, is joint top of the assist charts right now alongside Timo Werner. So that's really cool to see as well. And also for clean sheets, this is hilarious. Sam Johnston, 10 in 19. Yeah, you read that right. 10 in 19 for Sam Johnston. That is just ridiculous. And I have to say, that's the only surprising part of this career mode save thus far. In terms of form, in terms of signings, in terms of position, yep, it's been quite realistic, but that's been the one element that hasn't been. Still, the Gunners are leading the way. They're 4 points clear of Spurs, 5 clear of Liverpool, and 6 clear of Man City, who wrap at the top 4. Manchester United, Everton, and Chelsea are in the other European spots, whilst Aston Villa, Leicester, and West Ham make it the top 10. We're just behind David Moyes' side. 19 games in, we are in 11th place, 2 points behind West Ham and Leicester as well, and only a few points, 4 behind Chelsea in 7th as well. And crucially, we are 12 points off of Watford in 18th place as well. I think in the second half of the season, we should be okay to keep ourselves way above the drop zone. The question is, after a nice little mini run towards the end of December, can we have a good run to give us an outside shot of European football? With that, will end today's episode of the Realistic Career, guys. Big thank you for watching. Enjoyed it. If you had, please drop a like. Most of you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Realistic Career, where the January transfer window will open very soon.